National Federation of Independent Business putting out their monthly Small Business Optimism Index. Not easy to say. The news is pretty grim. The index posted its steepest drop in 2 years. And it doesn't even take into account the Supreme Court's health care ruling. Democrats in the Senate think they may have a fix. They're rolling out a bill that offers tax credits for businesses that hire. But is this enough to get things back on track? Joining me now is Republican Congressman Sam Graves, who is the chairman of the House Small Business Committee. Let me turn you to that survey first, Congressman. Thank you for joining us. First of all, I should say, pardon me, I don't want to be rude. The survey, though, what makes me nervous about it is that it doesn't take into account the Supreme Court decision. Do you think that small business sentiment is even worse than this survey says?
I think it's worse, and that's kind of one of the things we hear every single week in the Small Business Committee in the House is, the concerns over health care, not only, the tax increases that the administration is proposing, the regulatory environment that's out there, but the health care bill and what it's going to cost these small businesses.
So what do you think you can do to make that better?
Well, the biggest thing right now, what we would like to see in the House is to not raise taxes on small businesses. The president talked yesterday about increasing taxes on folks making $200,000 or $250,000.
Oh, he says that's not small business folks, though.
Well, that's absolutely small business. And, the majority, in fact, we think it's between 800,000 and 1 million small businesses out there that file their taxes as an individual and as a couple. And it's going to hit them very, very hard. And the president, though, I've heard him say that before. It's just not going to affect that many. But the fact of the matter is, it just goes to show you how out of touch he is.
Yeah, I mean, do you think taxes are the main ingredient? That is the main thing that would help small businesses thrive? Because we had somebody on from the Romney campaign yesterday, and they hit taxes over and over again. Is there anything else?
Well, it's the regulatory environment, too. This administration, whether it's the EPA or the Department of Energy or the Department of Labor, a variety of agencies out there that continue to hammer small businesses with new regulations that are going to cost them money, they're going to have to comply with, and that's just adding to it. There's so many things out there that is unfriendly to the small business community that comes out of this administration.
The Democrats have a bill out there in the Senate. It's a $28 billion bill, but it would allow firms to write off the cost of new equipment, which is probably a good thing to get them spending, but it would also give them tax credits for small businesses that hire. Do you think that has a meaningful impact? Because they think it's going to add about 1 million jobs.
Well, the fact of the matter is, it's a gimmick. How about just not raising their taxes? And that's what this president is proposing. I guess I kind of look at things from a very simple or a very obvious point of view. They want to talk about increasing taxes on small business and then come up with a gimmick to give them a tax cut to hire. The problem is that's ultimately going to run out. Why not just not raise their taxes? And I think that's what the Senate needs to be looking at.
You know what, Congressman Graves, thanks so much for coming on. We're going to ask a small business owner what he needs right after this. You may want to stay and listen, although I'm sure you've talked to many of them on your own. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's bring in a small business owner for more on this one.